there! Welcome back to my channel. You may call me Miss Introvert, and today we're going to be talking about what to do with your new writing ideas. This is one of the most common writing questions that I'm seeing in all of the writing groups that I'm a part of. You'll have a myriad of ideas, some having to do with different stories, or you'll have an idea for one story and you'll have no idea how to move forward with it. Well, there are ways to turn your blurry visions of vibrant ideas into outlines and eventually full books. And I am going to be showing you some of those basic ways. Also, I know, it's not Halloween, but if you're watching this on Halloween, good for you. Before we begin, make sure that you like and share this video with your friends and fellow writers to help grow our introverted writing community. If you like the content on this channel, then make sure you subscribe and become part of the introverted writing community. On this channel, I talk about tips for beginning writers every Tuesday, and I'll occasionally give tips for those of you who are students. I also have a few introvert and fangirl rants, which you can take part in the conversation. I'll usually mention a fandom, and if you catch on, then talk about it in the comments section. I would love to start a rant or a discussion in the comments section, which is mostly full of crickets, but there's plenty of room for introverts or fans of certain fandoms. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Number 1, write it down. For your own good, please write down your ideas. I can't stress this enough. If you don't write down your ideas, they will leave your brain and you will forget them. Some of those good ideas you might remember, and that's awesome, but it's always a good idea to write them down. I've neglected writing down ideas, and to this day, I still have no idea what they are. It's so disappointing. How do you keep a log of your ideas? Keep journals. You can even use the Notes app on your phone, or you can find other organizational apps like Evernote. I have a whole other video that just came out last week that deals with writer's block and this concept, so check it out if you're interested. Journals will help expand your ideas in writing, and it will help you organize those ideas, which we'll talk about later, but you can't write a book without organization. Of course, there is stream of consciousness writing, so you can really do whatever your little heart desires, but just remember the benefits of journals and organization. When writing a plot-based book, it's definitely helpful to have a reliable source to go to when thinking about ideas and when building your world. It also helps when you're confused about your own ideas. It's a bit ironic, but it happens to all of us. I just flicked my lights. Write down unanswered questions that you have about your characters, or you can write down certain things that have to happen in order for the plot to progress, whether it's character development, plot holes, themes, etc. This is also a great place to write down your first statement, which is why you're writing this book, who this book is for, and what this book is about. This way you don't have to think of all these things later in the publishing process. In fact, I have other videos that I'll link down below that have to do with this concept. Number 2, make writing exciting. In order to keep those ideas fresh in your mind and in order to keep your inspiration running for a slightly longer time than it would have, because it will eventually leave and inevitably come back with more ideas. You'll want to write about the ideas that excite you. Run with your inspiration for a while the ideas are still fresh in your mind. Is there a specific scene that you've plotted out in your head and you can't keep to yourself anymore? Are there deep and painful emotions for a specific character that you have to express for them? Is there a world that needs to be built, or even a specific place that you want to be standing in right now? Then write about it! Finally getting your thoughts and plots out on paper is extremely relieving. It's just refreshing and it gets you into the writing mood. And look, you already have a scene written down. That's basically starting your book. You don't even have to start at the beginning to start a book. Then there's the issue of connecting the different plot points and the different sequences and even the small bits of dialogue that you've already created to the rest of your book. How do you do it? I'm glad you asked, because that is my next point. Number 3, organize your story structure. I'm sure you all know how story structure tends to go. You've got your introduction, where you open on the beginning of the story, where the reader is familiarized to a certain extent with the world, and you can always introduce more as the plot moves forward. Next, you have the inciting incident, where you have a person or an event or what have you that sends your protagonist on a quest or a mission or what have you. And it can be any number of things. Then you have your rising action, which is all the events that lead to the climax. So introduce characters, give them obstacles, introduce villains, give your merry band successes and failures. When you do reach the climax, everything has to come to a head, and your characters either have a revelation or something of great significance happens to the characters, mainly your protagonist. And then you have the falling action, where your character might be devastated because of something that was revealed or by certain actions, and they work to save what they can. Lastly, we have the denouement, or the ending, which wraps everything up, ties up all the loose ends, fills in the gaps, reveals certain plot points and what they were, and puts characters in their final places. Whether that's happily ever after, or they're suffering a punishment, or they died. To kill off or not to kill off? That's the question. Let's face it, authors, we're basically murderers when it comes to our characters. So when you're organizing story structure, you can definitely use journals to keep track of what's happening. You can make an outline for your story, or you can even make an outline for your characters. Simple or complex, it's up to you. But it definitely helps you keep track of your writing as you delve into that rough draft. I also have a whole video on outlining if you want to check it out as well. Now here's the real predicament. What if you have 7 stories in your head and you don't know which one to write first? Well, go through each of these stories once you've scheduled time to do so. Write down the ideas you have, always get that done first because it'll be good to save them. Even if you don't think you'll use them in the future, you should still keep them with you, because if you run out of ideas one time, there'll be that one idea and it'll be right there waiting for you. Then use your journals and look at the pros and cons of each idea. You can combine your ideas into one story, or you can see how much research is going to be involved in each idea. This will help you narrow down your options. Some people can write 2 stories at once. I personally prefer to be writing one and editing another, or some people like to be writing one and editing the same one after they finish a chapter, but it all depends on your writing lifestyle. But once you've chosen the book idea you're going to be focusing on, schedule your time. Again, I have so many videos in the writing experiment that will be beneficial to learning how to organize your time and scheduling your writing lifestyle, and making your writing goals as well. I'll link them in the description, or they'll be in the little card. And if that one book idea doesn't turn out the way you planned, you still have more book ideas to choose from, especially if you had 7 stories in your head. And don't give up on your ideas so soon. Recycle the writing you have, and don't delete anything. You can always start over with a clean slate. But remember to keep previous work with you, because you never know when you're going to need it in the future. And those are just some of the ways you can stay organized and work with all of your ideas, because our writing minds just won't shut up. But let's not look at it as a drawback. We writers are able to see, hear, and feel multiple stories at once. We as storytellers have so much potential, and it should not be stifled. I hope this helped anyone who is looking for some advice on writing, and this is just my take on the subject. There are plenty of other ways to look at this concept, and you can modify my advice however you'd like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and share this video to help grow our introverted writing community. Comment down below what writing ideas that you have, or what you love about being a writer, an introvert, or even a fan of a certain fandom. I would love to start a discussion or a rant in the comment section. Me and the crickets, man, we have some really intriguing conversations. You guys are missing out. Gotta be honest. Well, that's all for now, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, check out my blog, and find the writing help you need on my Fiverr account. All the links will be in the description below. And stay basic. Okay, bye!